Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Short Play, a series of quick tours of games I like on a variety of platforms, new and old. Today we're looking at Tokyo Highway Challenge for the Dreamcast. This was a 1999 release developed by Genki and published by Crave Entertainment and Ubisoft in the West. It's part of a long-running series called Shutokou Battle, which started in 1994 back on the Super Famicom. It's a series based on illegal street racing on Tokyo Shuto Expressway's Bayshore route, which was at the height of its popularity in the mid-90s, so video game adaptations were inevitable. The game's likely inspired by some popular manga from the period, such as Wangan Midnight and the 6 Shuto Kosaku trial films, which released between 1986 and 1996. Now, while this Dreamcast game had a bit of a mixed reception on its original release here in the West, thanks to its deliberately repetitive and rather grindy nature, it proved pretty popular in Japan, and it was ultimately very influential on subsequent street racing games from both the East and the West. It's said that titles such as Rockstar's Midnight Club and EA's Need for Speed Underground basically took the visual customization systems from Tokyo Highway Challenge, and without this game we might not have had that type of racing game in the PS2 era onwards. And other games, meanwhile, started incorporating a selection of Japanese import tuner cars to their lineups. Such was the fashionable nature of this illegal street racing. Now, for me, this game stood out back in the day for its unusual racing format, so I've been quite keen to return to this. So, let's go play Tokyo Highway Challenge.
Okay, here we are with Tokyo Highway Challenge, also known as Tokyo Xtreme Racer in North America and Shutokou Battle in Japan. This is an old favourite of mine from the early Dreamcast days. As I say, had a bit of a mixed reception back when it first came out, for reasons that will probably become apparent. But I always rather like this because it's an interesting and unusual take on the racing game. And the main bulk of what you do in this game is in this quest mode here. So if we fire up and go from where I've been playing from so far. Load up my save game. I'm only 7 days in, so I haven't got that far in it. And basically what you do in this is there's a series of rivals from a bunch of different clubs here, and they've each got their own profile. You can see what car they're driving and what team they're from and a bit of information about them. And your aim is to ultimately beat all of them. Every couple of opponents, or is it every couple of clubs? I think it's every couple of clubs you shut down. You basically have a boss race against one of these characters called the Four Divas. And the ultimate aim in the game is to defeat the Four Divas and prove yourself the best street racer on the Shutokou Highway. And you do that by buying new cars or upgrading your existing cars and that sort of thing. So you earn CP or construction points, which is just money basically, by winning races. And yeah, your aim is just to race, enjoy yourself, customise your car, and see how you get on. So I've got 7,000 CP at the minute, so let's just go into tuning and see what I can do with that. I've got Stage 2 engine upgrade, Stage 3 suspension upgrade. So there is an upgrade system in this, but it's not anywhere near as in-depth as something like Gran Turismo or something like that. It's literally just higher numbers better. So can I afford a chassis upgrade yet? No, that's 10,000. So I might save up for that. Or should I get some better wheels? As you'll see that every 3 wheels is basically a set of them. And so the top one of each 3 is the best. So I could buy some new wheels, that will improve my handling. But I do also want to upgrade the chassis, because that is a significant upgrade that has a good effect on your performance. Yeah, let's save up and get the chassis. And yes, you'll also notice that you can name your cars in this. They are actually real cars. Some early reviews of this suggested that they're not real cars, but they actually are real cars. But Crave, the Western publisher of this, Crave and Ubisoft, Crave did it in the States and Ubisoft did it in Europe. They didn't have the license to use those cars, so they just had to quickly file off all the badges and not put any names of the cars in. But aside from that, the models are all real cars. So if you think it looks like something, that is what it is. Right. In fact, maybe I will change my wheels. Because they're only on Type 1 at the minute. Let's get some nice, fancy top-end ones. Let's see what a difference they make. Alright, there we are. Attach them now. You can change out your wheels whenever you want as well. You can also change your aerodynamic components as well. So this is sort of the main part that went on to inspire other games that sort of focused on street racing, so things like Need for Speed Underground and that such like. They took a lot of inspiration from this game in terms of the visual customization. Ooh, what can I do with my lights? Not a lot. Hood. Well, that's they're both quite nice. I like that one though. Oh, I can't afford it. Don't really care about mirrors. Not that bothered about side bumpers. Spoilers! Now you're talking. I quite like that one. Alright, well, I guess I'm not saving up for the chassis upgrade then, but I have made my car look nicer. There we go. I don't think I need to change my car's colour for the minute. Right, let's race. Now, there's an interesting bug in the PAL version of this, in that when you boot it up, it runs at 50 Hz. But then the next time you come back to the menu, it switches the game into 60 Hz and then stays at 60 Hz for the rest of the time. So I've already done that in this case, but do note, if you're playing this on a PAL Dreamcast, you will run into that issue. So sometimes it's best to just quickly go into the quick race option from the main menu, start a race, immediately quit it out, and then come back to quest mode. Unless doing some races in 50 Hz doesn't bother you, in which case, don't worry about it. Right, so there are only two quote-unquote courses in this game. You can go one way around the freeway, or you can go the other way around the freeway, and you'll run into different drivers depending on which way you're going and when, and so on. But there's a certain amount of randomness in there as well. So let's just go on A-type for now. We'll go with automatic gear shift. And we are loading. So, you start your race joining the freeway in switch views with a button. I like the first person view in this because it's just a little bit easier to see where you're going. And your job is to roam around looking for victims like this one, and then you flash your lights at them with the B button. And that will kick off a race. And in order to win the race, you need to defeat your opponent using the SP bars at the top. SP stands for speed points. And the way it works is whoever is in front will drain their opponent's speed points. And they will drain faster according to how far in front they are. So the further in front you get, the more quickly you will defeat your opponent. So there's a certain amount of strategy to this that makes it quite interesting. Because these races rarely go around the entire circuit, they tend to take up about a quarter of it at most. It can often be worth delaying triggering a race until you get to sort of a favourite part of the track that you know you can handle well. And where you can maintain your lead. That, or you can also take advantage of the civilian traffic and use that to get in your opponent's way. That's a very useful tactic. Because particularly in the early game, you can't necessarily rely on your car being good enough to defeat people. Alright, there we go, victory. So you get a prize depending on your rival's strength. If it's the first time you have confronted that rival, you will get the biggest bonus to their basic value. You then get a bonus depending on how much SP you had left and how long the race went on for. So you can actually if you can sort of stretch the race out a bit, you can get some more bonuses. But most of the bonus, sort of the biggest bonuses, come from the SP you have left and from the relative strength of your opponent. So it's generally best to focus on that side of things. While I'm playing this, you might notice a little bit of weird interlacing on certain visual effects. So like if you look at the headlights, for example, you can see some sort of stripes on there. That is because of some of the effects that are using don't translate very well to HD TVs. Those headlights are sort of flickering to simulate them being transparent. And you'll see that happening in other places in the game as well. Like on anytime there's some sort of rapidly flashing text, you'll see it more as kind of static and stripy, and that's because it's I think it's flashing faster than the refresh rate, and thus it comes out a bit weird on HD TVs. But that's the only real issue this game has running on a modern system through an upscaler like we are here, so nothing too much to worry about. So this game did come out in 1999, so it's worth bearing that in mind. But I mean, it's not a bad looking game. You can tell it's quite old, but it does move super slick. In fact, they made that a big selling point on the packaging for this. This is one of the first games I remember that was sort of proudly boasting of running at 60 frames per second. And yeah, that is one thing I vividly remember from playing this back in the day, is that this was one of the smoothest running racing games I'd ever seen at the time. And in fact, that was quite a common thing on the Dreamcast in general. Although we had a few PS1 games that happily ran at 60 FPS, the Dreamcast was the first console I remember where there were a lot of games who made that pretty consistent. It wasn't every game by any means. Like if you look at stuff like Sonic Adventure and that sort of thing, they run at sort of variable frame rates at best, and quite a high profile example is Sega Rally, which actually drew a fair amount of criticism for its very variable frame rate, but it's actually a really solid game despite that. If it didn't keep crashing on my Dreamcast, that is. I think I got a slightly dodgy disc. But yeah, this is a good example of the Dreamcast doing what it does well, which is to provide an experience akin to what you would have in the arcades. So super fast, super slick, well presented. And like I said, this game is relatively no frills in that you're just racing around a freeway, going round and round and round and round and round. But that provides a really interesting focus to the game, because it means you get to know this course really, really well as you play. And you'll find specific parts of it that you can handle more easily than others. Whoops! Like that corner is not a part I can handle very well. But each of the opponents you face, they drive a little bit differently as well. The bios in the main menu that I showed you before, they're not just for show. So the different racers do actually... they do actually race slightly differently. So you'll notice that some are much easier than others. Some are more aggressive than others. Oh, I've lost that one. You don't actually lose anything for losing a race. And in fact, you still get some money for the distance that it went on for. So it's not the end of the world. And in fact, since your opponent is probably just ahead of you, you can just challenge them again straight away if you want to. So there's no real penalty to doing that. The only thing you lose out on a bit is that initial bonus multiplier to their value. You will never get that again if you don't beat them first time. So from here, I think it's ×5 the first time you face them, and it goes down, immediately goes down to ×3 if you didn't win the first time. So it's in your interest to try and challenge them when you're feeling confident. And you'll see in this case I actually started with an advantage because of the traffic that was around when I started the race. I actually ended up in the lead from the beginning, and thus I could easily defeat him from there. I'd say it's ×4, so it only goes down by 1 times. But there we are. Alright, onward. Oh, we're being challenged by the boss of Curving Edge. So what this means is that I've beaten all of the other members of the Curving Edge Club, and now the boss wants to challenge me. So once I beat this guy, I've quote-unquote shut down Curving Edge. You'll still see them on the streets, but you don't have to worry about trying to clean them up anymore. And this counts towards your progress through the main game. So, I believe it's every 2 or 3 clubs you shut down completely. You'll face one of the 4 divas. Uh-oh, that's not going to help, is it? Oh, he's stuck back there in traffic. That's good. Yeah, so if we win this race, we might face a diva. I think. Oh no, he's going to get... Oh, he's got through. Damn it. Right, concentrate. The upside of having a fierce race like this is that you get a fairly big distance bonus, but like I say, the distance bonus is not as significant as the difficulty bonus or the remaining SP bonus, so don't count on it as a means of grinding things out too effectively. It can just provide you a little bit extra. Alright, come on, sneak past him, there we go. Get him caught up in that traffic. Oh no, he's gaining again. Block him off. Block him. Lovely. See, I like this game a lot because just the races have this really unique feel to them. And the kind of fighting game style presentation really helps with that. It's quite unlike any other racing game that I've ever played, apart from the other Tokyo Highway Battle games, obviously. But there we go. Okay, 300 times 5, so 1500 CP for beating him. And we have shut him down. Uh-oh. There we are. This is the first of the divas. Grim Reaper. Now this lot are pretty fierce, so you need to be on top of your game as much as possible. As you'll see, they will take every advantage they can get. And they don't make too many mistakes along the way either, so you want to try and get in the lead and stay in the lead as much as possible. Now, they will slow down for this corner up ahead, but I also often completely mess up this corner, so... Oh no, I've lost this. Yep, it's all over. See, their base value is 3,000, so they're really worth beating. Now, they don't disappear if you lose against them, so you can, just like any of the other cars, challenge them again immediately. So if I can just catch up with them. Which is easy enough, because the other cars cruise around at about 80 miles an hour. Oops. If I didn't spin out on a very gentle corner, that would be much better. Right, let's try this again. This part of the track is easier, but it does also mean that our friend here may be at an advantage as well, but we'll see. Now, as I'm playing this, hopefully you've noticed the wonderful music in this game, which is It's one of those soundtracks that has stuck with me for absolutely years. It just captures the kind of feel of those classic anime and manga that this game is paying homage to. It's a very sort of initial D-style Eurobeat. I believe it's all original for this game. I think there's no licensed music in this or anything. At least I hope not anyway, otherwise I'll have fun with YouTube. But no. I need to take them on where I start with an advantage, and then I need to keep that advantage. Still, we're getting little bits of money every time we do that, so let's keep challenging. Eventually we will take down Grim Reaper. But yeah, like I say, the soundtrack for this game is one of those soundtracks that has remained in my mind ever since I first played this game. I remember finding it really striking when I first played this game, and sort of thinking it was a bit cheesy and funny when I first heard it, but like, I unironically like the soundtrack to this game because it's just perfect for the action that's unfolding. And I like that there's a contrast between the just cruising around music and the battle music as well. So it makes each race feel like an actual event, something significant and dramatic. I don't think my car's good enough to beat this one. I think we might just have to cut our losses for now, and go and take on someone else for a bit. Let's have one more try. Let's just cruise along until we are in a place where I might be able to get an advantage. Oh, go on then. Let's try it from here. Hi, me again. If you wouldn't mind awfully letting me race you, that would be lovely. Yeah, I need more speed. 'Cause I just can't keep up with them. So I think we're probably going to have to grind a bit and get that chassis upgrade. Now, once you've faced a diva once, they do start showing up again on subsequent nights, so it's not the end of the world if you don't beat them straight away. Right, just ahead of us is someone we've already beaten, hence the green dot on the map. So we can just take this guy on again. He was pretty straightforward, I think. Got to be really careful in those little toll booths. It's very, very easy to slam into the dividing wall. Believe me, I have done it many a time. Right, ready for that super sharp corner ahead. And slowing down. Take it easy around there and then floor it out of it. It's actually not as bad as it looks. It's just easy to panic when you see the junction there as well. Alright, we're getting a decent lead. Yeah, so we can beat sort of normal racers fairly comfortably. We just need a bit more oomph to be able to take down a diva, I think, so... Alright, well, let's keep racing, because there's one more... Actually, I think there's one just behind me. Just overlapping with that green guy. Is it this person? Yes, if you look at their name in the top left, If it's blue, it means you haven't encountered them before. If it's green, you've beaten them before. And if it's purple, then they've beaten you before. So you want to be on the lookout for your blue opponents, because they are new people to add to your logbook and your collection of rivals. There's a definite progression of clubs as you go through the game. As you continue to race and effectively your reputation builds up, you'll see different drivers starting to take to the roads. And the ones that you were fighting in the early hours of the game will basically just disappear completely, because you're too good for them. And of course, as you might expect, that means that the more challenging racers, they have higher point values. So if you can beat them, then you will get bigger bonuses at the end of the race, which is what we want. You're stuck with your starter car in this game for quite a long time, because cars kind of start at about the 25,000 credits mark, and as you can see, you earn credits relatively slowly in this. Oh, hello. Another club boss. Now, it's quite nice to be challenged by the boss characters, because they usually start behind you, which can give you a bit of an advantage. But unfortunately, this guy looks pretty quick. Oh, no, we are gaining. Oh, no. People carrier in the way. Stay off the barriers. Whoops. Now, if you're wondering, the handling model in this is kind of odd. I would say it probably errs on the side of arcade, but it's also noticeably heavier than a lot of other arcade racers. So, like, if you compare this to something like Sega Rally, for example, on the Dreamcast, then Sega Rally is very sensitive and very twitchy, whereas this game, to begin with at least, feels very heavy. Until you've upgraded your car a bit. There are various tweaks you can do to your steering and that sort of thing, and it's probably a good idea to do that, especially if you're playing with a controller like I am. But yeah, it's something worth bearing in mind that this, although this is very much an arcadey racer, the handling is slightly closer to sim than some other games. But at the same time, it's no Gran Turismo or Forza Motorsport or anything like that. So if you're turned off by games in which you have to slow down for corners, I mean, you have to slow down for some of the corners in this, like the 90-degree one up in the northeast, but not to the same degree as you do in the more sim-like races. Right, here it comes. Take it carefully. Slow in, fast out, and all that. Don't you overtake me. No. Oh, you cheeky bitch. Yeah, fuck you. Whoops. I can drive. I can totally drive. I'm the master of the roads. Whoops. Aha, traffic, your old nemesis. Thread the needle. Beautifully done. Nice big reward for that as well. Okay, right, we got over 10,000 credits now, so I think what I'll do at this point is the next opportunity I have to pull off the road, I will do that. And we'll go and upgrade our chassis. So, in order to finish the night and go back to the menus, you can just do it from the start menu, but this is one of those games that it feels like you're supposed to immerse yourself into the role. Look at my beautiful junction discipline there. Wonderful. Anyway, yeah, no, it just feels right to actually pull off the road and do that. All right, tuning, buy parts, chassis stage 3, if you please. It's 16,000 for the one after that. Right, can I afford anything else? Next level of engine is 7,000. Next level of suspension is 10,000. That's the top for this one. Drivetrain 6,000. Upgrade my muffler. What am I on now? Type 1. I want to upgrade to one of those more expensive ones, really, don't I? Let's try this one. Okay, that will do for now. 120 CP left. Let's just go and see what difference that makes to our performance and handling. We'll go the other way around this time. But yeah, hopefully you can see why this game has a certain addictive quality to it. It's very different to pretty much any other racing game. Whoops. Very different to any other racing game out there for all sorts of reasons. And I've really enjoyed returning to it, actually. I'm glad this holds up nicely. One thing I will note is that when I first started playing this, I felt like the perspective was quite odd. So like if you look how low down on the screen the road is, it's almost like you're sort of looking up. And that felt a bit weird to begin with, but after a little bit of playing, I realised that was deliberate. It's because there's so much information being shown to you at the top of the screen. They deliberately kept the road down the bottom of the screen so that the information being presented to you doesn't get in the way of the actual driving. And that's very sensible design. And so the presentation of the information up at the top of the screen gives this game a very distinctive sense of style. And the perspective is just a very considerate piece of design. Ooh, only 700 credits for that. That's because he kind of sucks. Hence the fact we'd beaten him before. Alright, someone we've not beaten just up ahead of us, so let's go give him a go. The purple racer on the track is probably the Diva that we failed to beat before. So depending on how this next race goes, maybe we'll give them another try. Oops. Alright, who are you? You are the Duke from Twister. You got a nice car. Let's see if you know how to use it. Yeah, you do. Good. Good. Oh. Stop blocking me. That's my job. He's quick, but he does slow down quite a bit for those corners. Oh, handling on this car is actually quite a lot nicer now. I think the chassis upgrades are basically sort of lightening the car, I think. And then combine that with the new muffler, which gives us slightly better performance, I think. And this is actually handling quite nicely now. Alright, sneak through there. And we're getting a decent lead now. Just got to be careful on these corners coming up. That's not being careful. Alright, all done. Okay, right. Well, we get the idea there, so I reckon we can probably call that a night there. Largely because my wife is knocking on the door of the living room, which you may have heard just there. But what we'll do, we will pull off at the next junction, and we will save that there, and we will call it a night. Or call it a day. I say call it a night because we are racing at night time. Alright, so that is Tokyo Highway Challenge, or Tokyo Xtreme Racer, as it's known in certain territories, or Shutokou Battle out in Japan. I enjoyed that. This is a game that I've really enjoyed returning to, so I'm going to be playing this a lot more in the near future, I think. But yeah, check this out. This is a very long-running series. Like I say, it's been running since the Super Famicom era. There's a couple on PlayStation 2 as well. I'm not sure if it's survived beyond the PlayStation 2 era offhand, but it certainly ran for quite a long time. Anyway, we'll leave that there for now because the knocking is getting a little bit more insistent. So for now, I'll just say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.